Did you know that Isaac Newton, a devout Christian and one of history's greatest scientific minds, might have secretly wanted to become Muslim? Newton, often considered the greatest mathematician and physicist of all time, believed in Jesus, but not as God. He held that God is absolutely one, indivisible, and without equal. He believed the Trinity was not a teaching of Jesus or the apostles, but a later theological construction imposed by church councils long after the early Christian era. He was convinced that the original message of Jesus was centered on the worship of one supreme God, and the idea of a triune deity was foreign to the Bible. But how do we know this? From Newton's private theological papers, now known as the Yehuda manuscripts, over 1 million words of handwritten notes discovered after his death and kept hidden for centuries. In Newton's time, denying the Trinity was a criminal offense in England, punishable by loss of position or even imprisonment. That's why he kept these writings secret during his lifetime. But in them, we find a man deeply committed to studying Scripture and the early Christian church, not for theology degrees or public preaching, but out of personal devotion and intellectual honesty. These manuscripts show that Newton didn't accept doctrine blindly. He rejected anything that contradicted pure monotheism. He read the Bible in its original languages, Hebrew and Greek, and studied church fathers, councils, and historical developments. He believed that over time, Christianity had been distorted by politics, creeds, and philosophical ideas taken from Greek thought, not the teachings of Christ. But here's what many people don't know, and it opens a fascinating window into how Newton may have arrived at such radical beliefs. Newton's teacher, Isaac Barrow, may have planted the seeds. Barrow wasn't just a mathematician. He was a polymath, a theologian, a traveler, and a linguistic genius. In the 1650s, while still a young scholar, Barrow traveled through the Ottoman Empire, spending time in Smyrna, modern-day Izmir, and Istanbul. He visited libraries, monasteries, and studied with local scholars, Muslim and Christian alike. He immersed himself in Greek, Hebrew, and Arabic, opening his mind to theological traditions far beyond Western Europe. There, Barrow encountered both Eastern Christianity and Islamic thought. In the Eastern Orthodox world, he found church fathers who believed Jesus was subordinate to God, not co-equal, a view that echoed the pre-Nicene Christian theology. And in Islamic lands, Barrow would have encountered the doctrine of Tawhid, the uncompromising belief in God's absolute oneness without partners, sons, or divisions. Islamic theology emphasized clarity, reason, and the rejection of contradictions in understanding the divine. It offered a model of monotheism that was logically sound, spiritually pure, and consistent with the early Abrahamic message. So when Newton later studied theology under Barrow at Cambridge, he wasn't just learning calculus or optics. He may have been absorbing an intellectual legacy shaped by exposure to diverse monotheistic traditions like Islam. Barrow likely never preached Islamic theology, but the influence of rational monotheism from the East could have shaped his approach, and through him, Newton's own. It's no surprise, then, that Newton rejected the Trinity. The man who revolutionized science and revealed the laws of motion also believed in a God who never changes. The influence of the Muslim world and early Christianity may have reached Newton not directly, but through the ideas passed down by his teacher, ideas shaped by libraries in Istanbul, conversations in Smyrna, and a lifelong devotion to truth. To Newton, truth had to be clear, rational, and pure. And for him, that truth was this: God is one, not three in one. The man who explained the motions of the planet may have also grasped the most unmoving truth of all, that behind all creation stands one eternal creator. Like, share, and subscribe to Truth Shall Prevail.